Goodness me. Ruined my... Oh, here we go. That's much better. Alright, yes, all the DLC. Alright. Welcome to historical accuracy. I can't even say it now, jeez. YouTube show where you get to watch me kill people, good and bad, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about history. A lot of it's probably going to be focused on wars. Initially, I'm probably going to focus on World War II. This particular episode is focused on two, well, people, quote-unquote, who were notable in the Second World War. And you may or may not have heard of one or both of them, but I'm going to tell you who they were and a little bit of the more notable things that they did. So the first one is Woytek, spelled W-O-J-E-K. So Woytek, because I don't know how that spelling works. I didn't come up with it. So anyway, Woytek was a bear. So a bear found by a little boy in Iran, and as the Polish soldiers were coming over from the Soviet Union. Okay, wait. I'm looking at a little bit of backstory on those Polish soldiers. So, as I hope you know, during World War II, the Soviet Union ended up fighting against the Nazis, but initially, Stalin was pretty content to just let Hitler do whatever it was he wanted to, and they signed a secret treaty saying that the Nazis wouldn't invade Russia, and in return, Russia would do jack squat about the Nazis basically fucking up all of Europe. So these Polish prisoners happen to have been captured by... I don't remember, actually. But anyway, they were prisoners in the Soviet Union, and when the Nazis did attack the Soviet Union, Stalin, quite unhappy, released the Polish prisoners, who were more than happy to fight the Nazis, but not excited to fight for the Soviets. So instead, they got sent to Britain, and on their way there, they went through Iran. And once they arrived in Iran, they met a young boy and traded rations to him for a little, a malnourished bear cub, brown bear cub. So these soldiers took this brown bear to their training as he grew up. He just lived with the soldiers in and around their camp, slept with them in their tents, and drank, smoked, and wrestled with the soldiers. And when I say drank, he would drink beer from the bottle. I don't know if they ever taught him how to open the bottle, but he did smoke cigarettes regularly. You just had to light them for him. Anyway, a couple of years roll around, and the 22nd Transport Artillery Supply Company in the Polish 2nd Army Corps, because the primary Polish army was pretty devastated by the Nazi invasion. But the Polish 2nd Army Corps had to ship out, and they were shipping out essentially under the British Army. And since the British didn't allow pets, and the soldiers decided that they were going to keep Woytek, they decided that they would draft him. So Woytek was drafted as a private in the Polish Army, where he served in the 22nd Transport Artillery Supply Company. So when the soldiers marched, he would march alongside them, standing upright on two legs. He rode in their car, and he was included on the unit roster. Most importantly, though, or most notably, I should say, is Woytek's role in the Battle of Monte Cassino. I'm probably not saying that right. Teaching about history, not English. Cassino. Monte Cassino. C-A-S-S-I-N-O. and that was a battle in Italy, and Cassino was a large, well, not church, it was an abbey that the Germans had essentially made their, well, they had essentially made it their home base in the area. So primarily they were entrenched within and around this abbey. And the Battle for Monte Cassino was actually 4 smaller battles that lasted 123 days. Casualties were over 75,000 between the Allies and the Axis powers there. The Axis powers being the Germans and the Italians, and the Allied powers being the British, the Polish, the Americans, and somebody else. Anyway, the battle began on January 14th of 1944, and Wojtek, at 3 years old, got his first taste of combat. Initially, he was expected to they tethered him to a truck, and essentially were just going to leave him there. But upon watching his caretakers pick up artillery boxes and begin carrying them to the front lines, Woytek decided to play along. So he grabbed he would pick up boxes of artillery and carry them to the front lines, completely unfazed by the battle going on around him, which is artillery fire, gunfire, people are dying, completely unfazed. We have a 500-pound, 6-foot-tall brown bear carrying boxes of ammunition over 100 pounds. So that was pretty exciting. I'm disappointed that Woytek never got to see hand-to-hand combat, which would have been far more entertaining to tell about, but he did serve a legitimate role in the war, as legitimate a role as many of the soldiers. So, after the war in 1945, Woytek was moved to Edinburgh Zoo, where his former... well, I guess we're talking to...
Don't worry, she won't bite unless I tell her to.
Excellent. I'm so worried about that. We'll get right back to Woytek in a minute. Far more entertaining than her dog. I guess you're gonna tell me how to survive.
I guess there's a thing or two I could show you.
Oh, well, that's
Sounds
nice
like
of
you need all the help you can get after what they done to you.
I mean,
meet me outside,
I survived
behind
a
the
bullet
saloon.
wound to the face. What are you gonna do for me? Well, anyway, after serving in the war, Woytek was moved to Edinburgh Zoo, where he lived a full life until age 22, dying in December of 1963. Which was sad, but another fun fact, he nearly died after being stung by a scorpion before he ever got to fight, so he would have been just a cub at the time, but he was nursed back to health by the soldiers he was with. And one more thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, so when Woytek got moved to the zoo, his friends, the soldiers, would...
well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles.
No, I didn't come to you to get interrupted either.
Geckos away from our water supply anyway.
Well, that's nice. Will you not talk to me?
Follow me.
Just don't say anything to me, woman. Anyway, so yeah, Woytek spent the rest of his life, which was, well, 22 years. He retired from he left the military when he was around 4. So for 18 years of his life, he lived in the zoo, where periodically Polish soldiers would visit him and they would light cigarettes and throw them into his cage, and I think they tried to throw beer, but the zoo made them stop. I think they probably were told not to throw cigarettes too, but I mean, they're not that hard to sneak into anywhere, quite frankly. So, in honor of old Woytek, they broke zoo rules and let the poor bastard smoke a few cigarettes. And I guess that's most of the information I have to give you on Woytek the bear. Oh, actually, the 22nd Polish Artillery
Hear that up on the ridge
insignia is now
We
the
got some
picture
geckos to
of
clear out.
a large
Bunch of
brown
little
bear
monsters is what
carrying
they
an
are.
artillery shell.
Seems like Doc Mitchell treats more gecko bites than anything else.
Oh, the
Let's see if we can
geckos.
get a little closer.
Woman, I wonder if I have other guns. What do I have? This looks useful. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care.
Okay, you're on.
So,
Go give 'em hell.
as I just said, the insignia of the 22nd Polish Artillery supply is now a brown bear.
Thanks for staying along with us this long. Be sure to like or comment on our video, and remember that constructive criticism is always welcome.